Florida Atlantic University Libraries webinar, Bibliometrics and Altmetrics. My name is Christy Padron. I'm the Scholarly Communication Librarian. Today's objectives for this webinar will be to define bibliometrics, their purpose, and their use. We'll also introduce two types of altmetrics. Finally, we will outline ways to find bibliometrics and altmetrics. Bibliometrics, a short intro. By definition, bibliometrics are the statistical analysis of publications, books, or articles. It was initially used to examine scholarly networks. It has its origins in the STEM field and were used by busy scientists to identify related articles on topics of interest. Scholars also used bibliometrics to identify relevant sources to the concepts that they wished to study or wanted to read more on. Currently, bibliometrics are used to identify seminal publications and authors. They will also be used to measure influence of a journal. Bibliometrics are also used for descriptive and evaluative purposes. That is, they may describe how often a journal article is cited. They can also be used for evaluative purposes, such as a bid for promotion and tenure. Types of bibliometrics. We have journal-level bibliometrics, which are defined as quantitative measurements generated through citation formulas. This is done by taking a given journal and seeing how often its articles are cited by other journals and published works. Please keep in mind that not all journals have bibliometrics. I will explain that in just a moment. You also have article-level bibliometrics, which are assigned to articles. We also have author-level bibliometrics, which describe those done for authors and the articles and other publications they write. And finally, we have altmetrics, which are defined as indications of impact through mentions, media coverage, shares, and other online interactions. This recording will focus on journal-level bibliometrics and also altmetrics. Journal-level metrics. The Journal Impact Factor is known as JIF. It is by the Web of Science group. This is the most widely known and influential bibliometric in STEM and health sciences. The Journal Impact Factor identifies the frequency in which an average article from a journal is cited within a year. It evaluates or compares a journal's relative importance with others in the same field. So in other words, a journal in nursing that has a Journal Impact Factor score can also be compared to other nursing journals with the Journal Impact Factor. The second common journal-level metric is known as a CiteScore by Scopus, which is an Elsevier company. It includes STEM, but also social sciences, arts, and humanities in the journals that they evaluate and provide a CiteScore. The CiteScore is calculated once a year. Other journal-level metrics. There are two others you may hear a lot about, the first being the Skymajo Journal Rank, which is released by the Skymajo Lab at University of Granada. The second one you may hear about is called the Eigenfactor score by the University of Washington. You can find this score in the Journal Citation Report or in Journal Information. Find journal-level metrics. One way to find the Journal Impact Factor is through JCR, the Journal Citation Reports. If you are an FAU student, staff, or faculty member, it is available to you through the FAU Libraries at its webpage at library.fau.edu. The screenshot below shows how you can search for a journal by categories, publishers, and also by name. A way that you can find the CiteScore is to visit the Scopus Preview at www.scopus.com. Here's where you can search for journals by the subject area, title, publisher, and other ways. Finally, you can visit a journal's About page to get its journal-level metrics. In this example, I am using the journal called Sage Open. It has an About page that provides information about its journal indexing and metrics. And as you can see, it does indicate the impact metrics of the Journal Citation Reports and Scopus. As a librarian, I'm often asked by students and professors alike what they should do if a journal does not have a bibliometric. I tell them that it doesn't necessarily mean a journal is low quality. One reason may be the journal was not included in Scopus or Web of Science. These two bibliometrics have lists of journals that they include in their calculations, so it is likely that a journal without a bibliometric was not included in the Scopus or Web of Science lists. The journal may be too new or less than 3 years. The formulas have a minimum of 3 years citation information needed to make their calculations. And finally, some disciplines use other ways to communicate and publish, such as through books, creative works, or proceedings instead of journal articles, and they don't widely use bibliometrics like other fields. Next, we'll go into altmetrics, a definition. They are alternative metrics and descriptive data that can be used in addition to traditional bibliometric factors to describe a work's impact. Altmetrics keeps tabs on various scholarly works and not only journal articles. They provide a complement or alternative to traditional bibliometrics. A lot of scholars who publish by using presentations, posters, or white papers wanted to come up with a way to check engagement with their work. They thought that the traditional bibliometrics like the journal impact factor or CiteScore didn't quite capture the work the same way. However, it's not meant to replace these types of bibliometrics. As the final point says, it provides a complement or alternative. Altmetrics are used to capture web-based information about the interest or interaction with the work. It aims to identify where and how often one's work is being discussed. And it also can show evidence of your publishing or creative activity and its potential. Altmetrics gets its data from many different sources. It will look at media and online coverage. How many times has it been mentioned in news or blogs? It also takes a look at social media activities, like how many times it had been tweeted on Twitter, shared on Facebook, or other social media platforms. It may also take a look at the numbers of bookmark shares or saves that people have in their various scholarly research workflow and productivity software, like Mendeley. Altmetrics may also incorporate the numbers of views or likes a publication or work has had, along with recommendations in sites like Figshare. Next, I'll go into two Altmetric products. These are subscription-based, where an individual or organization subscription may be required for some features. However, both products do have some free features available. The first product I'll introduce is Plum Analytics, also known as Plum Matrix by Elsevier. The second one is Altmetric by Digital Science. You can get more information about Plum Analytics at its webpage, and it is subscription-based. It collects information on artifact or article level data. A lot of times you will see this little logo on an article that you can click and get more information about its Plum Analytics. It also collects author level data, so an author could have a page on Plum Analytics with information about how many times their work has been downloaded, viewed, or shared. The metrics fall under a few different categories. They may look at citations like the traditional bibliometrics may do. They look at how many times a work has been used or captured, and also the mentions on social media and other online forums. In this example, we have an article that was published in the Journal of Monetary Economics. Here on the right side, you have the article metrics by PlumX. It provides how many times this article has been cited, captured, and then if it has been mentioned in the news. You also have a little link here that you can select to view more details. On the next page, we have full details on this article level information. You can see this article was mentioned in a newspaper called DIW Berlin in 2017. And then you have link outs to how many times this article has been cited in Scopus. You also have here policy citations, so perhaps some laws or legislation had referred to this article. And then you see how many times it's been captured in readers like Mendeley. The second product, Altmetric Products, is by Digital Science. Again, you could get more information by visiting its webpage. It tracks outputs of articles with an identifier such as a digital object identifier or DOI, and also if it is mentioned in their tracked data sources. Like the PlumX, it focuses on artifact or article level data. And the data sources have a broad range from news outlets, social media, but also publishers like Elsevier and Wiley, and also repositories or online collections of articles and other works. To give you an example, an article, Hate Crime Legislation, Vague and Inconsistent Across 50 U.S. States, by FAU researchers in the College of Social Work and Criminal Justice. As of March 2023, this article has been mentioned on 2 blogs of professional organizations and had 7 tweets on Twitter. If you go to the article as it appeared in the journal Victims and Defenders, you have a tab that says Metrics. By selecting that tab, you can get Altmetric information in the journal article. Here you can see this article has been viewed 147 times, and it gets a little Altmetric score of 43, which we'll go into in just a moment. If you select on the Altmetric donut that they call there, with the 43 in the middle, it will take you to more information about how this article has been captured. This will take you to the altmetric.com tools. You can see a summary of the article's mentions. The Altmetric attention score and donut is shown here next to the arrow. This describes how many times it's been discussed, tweeted, or mentioned in their data sources. Two additional features of Altmetric is a bookmarklet that can be added to a page, and then also badges that a researcher or scholar can add to their personal web page to show their Altmetric score. I'm often asked which Altmetric is most useful, and here's what I would suggest. I think there's some considerations to make. First, consider the types of work created in your discipline. Some fields, especially the health sciences, really look at journal articles as a main way to communicate your work, whereas those in the humanities may take a look more at the books that are created or plays as opposed to a journal article. Your discipline norms for evaluating productivity and impact or influence would also be some things to consider. As mentioned earlier, some disciplines really value getting published in high-impact journals as a description of productivity, or other disciplines will evaluate their scholars through the books they published or where they give conference presentations. Also consider the ways your scholarship or creative works are typically communicated. So are they communicated through books, journal articles, poster presentations, conference proceedings? Identify those things, and that will help you consider which Altmetric you could use. And then finally, and most importantly, use the Altmetric with the type of information that will most meaningfully communicate your work and its impact. Finally, you'd also want to consider the availability of Altmetrics for your work. If your work was only published a month or two ago, you may not have enough Altmetrics to really meaningfully tell how many people are reading it and using it. However, if your publication was published more than a year or two ago, it has had more time to be viewed by other people and also tweeted, cited, and shared. For more information, you can go to the Find Bibliometrics Research Guide. If you go to the webpage libguides.fau.edu, you can enter a search for bibliometrics and find it there. We also have a separate research guide for Altmetrics. Both guides will explain commonly used Altmetrics and bibliometrics and ways you can find them. If you have questions on these topics, you can also contact Scholarly Communication Services Home by going to the library homepage. If you've been assigned to take the quiz, you can go to this URL, and you can also use your camera to capture this QR code. You can check this recording or the Research Impact Research Guide or the Altmetrics Research Guide to help you. Certificates will be sent for correctly answering 4 out of 5 questions, or 80%. The quiz can be taken multiple times. Thank you for watching the webinar Bibliometrics and Altmetrics. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me or any of my colleagues at the FAU libraries.